All right, welcome everybody in. Thank you for joining us. Continue to hit that like, subscribe, rate, all that fun stuff, man. That's what keeps us going on the airs, and we appreciate the growth from you guys. Brent Rollins, the great Brent Rollins, joins me as always. Yeah, you like that? Great. Works for PFF and just knows football inside and out. So we've already done the picks, guys. Everybody that's listening, we've already put those out. So you can go find those as soon as you're done with this show. And we picked all the games. We gave you the scores, and so you can take those and do whatever you like with it. We're not going to tell you what to do that, but you can do whatever you want with it. And then now we get to the Podium Kings. We got Jesse Palmer coming up too, man. Like working with him for so many years, he's such a great dude. His football opinions and his studying of tape is second to none. Like he watches every single thing. Like he's probably gone and watched games from a year ago of these guys that he has now because he's just that kind of a nerd and he wants to have informed, strong opinions. So he'll be great, and we'll get some good opinions about Arch and John Mateer and some of those guys that have been, okay and good and vice versa. But first, the segment that we absolutely love, Podium Kings. And we're going to go to Memphis first for this one because, yeah, I said Memphis. You heard me correctly. We're going to hear from Memphis right now and Podium Kings.
Sure, we do this all the time, but generally on a Sunday afternoon when we meet with the team, we do two things, and we always start off with not our standard. We always start with a negative, and the not our standard is Georgia wide receiver, right, arrested for driving 900 miles per hour over the speed limit, right? That's a weekly occurrence. So,
all right, my man. I
salty.
Going for the local laugh, right? Like the people are there. I'm impressing, so I'm gonna say that right out. But my comment to this would be: get Josh Brooks on the phone, athletic director of Georgia. Get me Memphis on the schedule. If I was Kirby, that's what I'd be like. Get me Memphis on the schedule. I don't care about what he said. Fine, so be it. Like Kirby's not going to do that. That's not who he is and what he says. But he would say, if you want to play and I'll take care of business, I'll take care of business. That would be my response.
Not only would he say that, he would bring it up in the pregame speech. He would bring it up at halftime. He would bring it up in the postgame speech after just destroying them and making sure that his team does that. I also thought there was just the timing of it is a little interesting, given the fact that Florida is struggling and maybe might be looking for a new coach. And if he's crapping on Georgia a little bit, maybe he's sort of endearing himself to that fan base already.
Well, don't know the answer to that, but the next one's going to be.
I wouldn't do that, by the way. I would never do that. It does, and especially in that world where everybody's got their own issues.
Well, you got your peers, and then your kids are going to mess up, and then what are you going to say? Like that's definitely a part of it. But next, you go to Clemson, South Carolina. Dabo is making his case, making his point. He's getting a little defensive about the start to the season, and so take a listen to the great Dabo Swinney.
Hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they can send me on my way, but I'm going to go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all going to have to deal with me for a while. I got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach. I'm just now figuring it out. So we'll be around a while.
All you needed to hear to really to understand that Dabo's peed off is hell. Like to hear him say, hell, I'm going to be around a lot. Because if you know Dabo, he tries not to swear. I love Dabo Swinney. I love his heart. I love who he is. If I was giving some positive critique for him and some things to work on, is just he tends to get defensive. And I get it, man. If I was in his shoes and you're always getting berated about losing, and I'd have a tendency to go, okay, do you see this? 10-win seasons, national championships. By the way, let's talk about that. There's two guys in college sports that have multiple national championships. There's two active coaches. I'm one of them. Are you calling into doubt what I am, who I am? I understand that, but I think that if we can point to some of the clips before that too, is he's talking about we played a good game versus Georgia Tech. Did you? I didn't think they played a good game. I didn't think they played solid. I thought they made, a lot of mistakes offensively. I think that the criticisms and the things people say, just take it. Just wear it and say, like, we didn't play good. Like, Georgia Tech played better. I got to fix X. I got to fix Y. Like, we need Antonio Williams back. But defensively, like, and even after the game, like, you know, the defense let us down late. Yeah, but the offense kind of sucked. Like, and just, well, this is what happens, man. You win. He's got a different perspective than a lot of people in this game. And so you're going to get criticized, and this kind of stuff is going to happen. I would love to see him just take it head on. We didn't do good enough. We need to do this. I didn't do good enough. I need to do this. And listen, he's doing this in the locker room, okay? Like, he's giving it to his guys. Like, I can promise you that he does that, and he's not accepting losing. I think he can make it easier on himself, and because there's a lot of people that every time there's the press conference that comes out, like, they just can't wait to share Dabo's and look at this, look at this. And I'm like, I don't really care about press conferences that much. Well, I do with Podium Kings. Podium Kings make me care more about press. I literally sit there, and Wes can vouch for me on this. I sit there on Tuesdays or Mondays, like, and I watch the different press conferences, and I'm looking for clips. Like, that's where I found the drink clip of him talking about things. That's why I'm watching the reactions of the coaches, because I love hearing them react and how they react and what their demeanor is. Because, this is a lot of times what this is a part of the psychology of coaching. Like, I have to be able to teach my guys. And sometimes I have to use the media, and Saban was masterful at that, right? Like, use the media to call out my guys to go get them to understand they haven't done anything or they need to fix this. Like, it all, it's all psychological warfare. Like, all of it is with your players. But I just think that don't take it personal, right? Like, laugh at yourself, be honest with yourself, give honest critique sometimes. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Just be real. I think that's what fans and the media, and just be real. Look, guys, we struggled in certain areas. We weren't good enough. It wasn't good enough to get a victory. And the standard here is being good. And guess where it starts? It starts with me. I'm at the top. It's my responsibility to make sure that our players are in positions to succeed, all that sort of stuff. That's what you typically hear. But you can also do that while saying, hey, we messed this up, but it's my responsibility to make it better, kind of thing.
Do you think Dabo's, like, I'm going to say this, and I feel like Dabo's demeanor, I feel like what he used to be and what he's starting to become, it seems like
grumpy old man.
I'm not saying grumpy old man, but it definitely seems like he's just, it almost seems like he's frustrated. It seems like he's kind of beat down a little bit. And listen, that's what happens when you don't play good. And the longer you're at a place, man, like, it's hard to keep the juice and the energy and like, he's kind of been there, done that. And I'm not saying Dabo's washed up. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying he's done, but I do feel like his demeanor and maybe his intensity a little bit. Like, I think maybe the kids need to see that a little bit. And here's why I say that the most. What's changed about Clemson the most over the last 4, 5, 6 years? There's one thing that's changed the most. Like, there's been some coaches that have come and go. There's been some great players that have come and go. Venables, like, that intensity, that put the thumb down, that get back coach, that, like, get in your mother freaking booty when you need it. Because guess what? You need it. Like, you need to be yelled at. You need to be held to a standard. Like we say all in here, that's the standard. That's how we do this. And I saw it with Coach Rick, Mark Rick. Like, Mark Rick operated at his best with Brian Van Gorder. Why? Because Brian Van Gorder had no problem being the bad cop. Absolutely no problem being the blank you. This is how we blanking do it. Get on the line, we're going to run. Like, you have to have that. You can lead with love. There ain't no doubt about it. But, like, the accountability, we're going to hold your feet to the fire. You need to bring them. And listen, Tom Allen's great for that too. Tom Allen's got such a great personality, and, like, he's going to bring it every single day. But I think you want, as a Clemson fan, you want to see more of that probably. As a college sports fan, you want to see more of that. And
so think about the situation they're in. One, he's created that standard. Like his program and his success in the past has created that standard and the standard of 10 wins and national championships and those sorts of things.
Right.
So he's part of that. But two is in terms of looking at all of this with I
love when people are trying to phrase things a certain way because you're trying to like not say it. You don't want to say it the way you want to say it. You're kind of trying to be respectful in a certain way.
No, actually, I just completely lost my train of thought of what
Well, I do that all the time. Welcome to my world. Like that's when you've been hitting the head a lot. That's exactly what I do. I will start so many sentences and be like, crap, I don't even know what I'm talking about. But like this is the product of winning. This is the product of being somewhere for a long time. And like Clemson has had it really, really good. They've won a lot. They've done it different. Now, the evolution, you're seeing some. They went to the transfer portal. They changed the way they do things a little bit. Dabo fired his DC and hired a new guy. And so, like, I think that, the evolution as a coach, you have to evolve. You saw Nick evolve, right? Like, you've seen Kirby evolve. Like, you've got to evolve and duck and bob and weave with the sport. And Dabo and them are doing that. I compared Clemson when I was on game day 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Like I compared him to Mike Krzyzewski. And I was like, Mike Krzyzewski did not want to ball in or buy into the one and done. Like that's not how he wanted to do it. He didn't do it for a while. He didn't win championships for a while. He evolved and he's like, okay, we can do this our way, bought into the one and dones and ding ding, we got more rings. Like that's the way, you have to continue to do. So I think all of this is constant evolution. Did you finally remember what you're going to say? Because you're motioning to me. The
light bulb finally hit.
Okay, well, go. No, don't stop. Go. Don't forget. Go.
What does a fan want to see above all else? They want to know that their head coach is in control and that the outside world is not getting to them, that they're just dialed into coaching their team and doing everything that they can to win games. And this, to me, he looks like someone who's the outside world, the outside pressure, everything outside of the building is kind of getting to him a little bit, and losing and all. It shouldn't bother him. It should just on to Syracuse. We're on to Syracuse.
Yeah. So you want Dabo to have a little bit more bite, right? Mm-hmm. Like just a little more like bring it on, like us against the world. Like, just keep doubting us at your own apparel. Like, you do that, we'll take care of business. But either way, Clemson, like, what he's done for your program, man, is it's set the bar really high, like really high, and that's a really, really good thing. We all are works in progress that continue to shape and mold. But like when you go to like I'm 55, I'm not done.
I was going to ask you that. Is that the new? So is 55 the new 40?
I hope so, because that means I'm the new 30. That would be great. I mean, we want to continue to get younger as we go.
Started.
Yeah, just get
40,
started.
I'm a man.
I'm a man. I'm 40, but no, it was okay. Like now, on to the next. So let's get to our boy Jesse Palmer. Now we're welcoming in Mr. Handsome himself, Jesse Palmer.
Such great hair.
Such great flowing locks that Brent you'll never know anything about. But Palmer, I've been with you for so many years, and the thing that I've always respected about you had nothing to do with your hair, which is fantastic. Nothing to do with your food choices, which if you're a bougie foodie, you will like his food choices. I am not. It's not my thing. But it's always been the absolute honesty. That's what I love. Like when you walk into Death Valley and you're talking about them Clemsoning and you just like say it, like you just lay it out there. And they weren't too happy about it for a while, but like, it's okay. It's part of it. I don't know if you've been watching Dabo, and I don't know if you've been watching the press conferences, but like getting a little defensive, talking about like, hey, I'm gonna be coaching. I'm 55. I'm getting in the coach. I'm in the coaching prime of my life. Like I got this figured out, and like, but there's some negativity like with going on. And like, what have you thought so far with Clemson and obviously how they've started, but now like people are starting to circulate some Dabo stuff. And I don't know. I mean, you feel one way or another?
Well, first off, you never had to worry about my food choices because you never had to pay for it. You never lost credit card roulette, number one. So you were just eating for free the whole time.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man. It's like, listen, obviously it is a disappointing start for Clemson. There is no question. And there were a lot of people that had very high expectations. I remember you and I were talking in the middle of one of our EA Sports college football recording sessions. And you were like, I like Clemson to win the national championship. You were really high on them to start the year. And I think a lot of people were too, based on, what was coming back. Obviously, they haven't played well. And, it's not even so much just LSU and Georgia Tech, but even in the Troy game, it wasn't great. And they just haven't been able to get an offense going consistently. I mean, Dabo's frustrated. I mean, I've watched the press conference. There are people calling it a crash out. I don't think that was a crash out. Like Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 40. That was a crash out.
That was fantastic.
Back in the day. That was legendary. So listen, he's just reminding people, hey, we've won a lot of games here. And by the way, I mean, we all remember Clemson getting housed last year against Georgia, week 1, and then losing to Louisville middle of the season before losing to South Carolina at the end of the year. Still got into the playoffs, still won the conference. I mean, just when you look at that roster, David, I don't know, like when you just look at the talent they have, it's just hard to move Clemson all the way over and just forget about him and quit on him. I don't think, I'm personally not ready to do that yet. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure in Clemson right now, for a lot of fans, it feels like the sky's falling a little bit. And there hasn't been this expectation, I think, for Clemson entering a year since Trevor Lawrence was probably there, right? Like the Deshaun Watson years, the Trevor Lawrence years. So, I mean, I'm not as concerned. It's obviously been disappointing, but there are a lot of teams. There are a lot of other places around the country where things aren't going like they were supposed to either. And I think he's built up the resume to sort of have that moment on the podium to say, hey, whoa. Where was this program before I showed up here? You and I were calling games at Clemson before Dabo was the head coach.
Yeah.
You and I remember what that used to look like, and it's a totally different place now. So honestly, for me, that didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, the equity is there. Like he's always had that too, like that chip on his shoulder, and like I want to prove you wrong, and like oh you want 10-win seasons, like bing, eat that. Like he's had that throughout his life. Another team that I saw, Jesse, and this bothers me so much, and it drives me nuts when people say things and then they take one clip and they go crazy. Like Alabama's the worst team in history. Like they suck so bad they shouldn't even dress out the rest of the year. Like bury them. You got to call the first game, and then you got to call them again. Like I mean, just seeing Alabama and seeing Ty Simpson and seeing them start to get some reps, Ryan Williams start to look like Ryan Williams, like. I mean, obviously, first week, meeting with coaches to now, like, how do you feel about the Tide?
Well, I feel a lot different about them after calling the Wisconsin game, no question. And I don't know how good Wisconsin's going to be by the end of the year. And I think when we look back on this, that might be a good win, but I think certainly their biggest tests are still ahead of them. David, to me, the biggest thing about Alabama and what was so disappointing in the Florida State game at the start of the season was just their best players. Alabama's best players weren't playing well. We talk about Caden Proctor, that massive left tackle they have. He's 6'7", 366. He's so athletic. And, David, you watch the film. He goes through stretches of tape where you're watching him and you're like, oh, this is a top 10 pick. Like he's dominating. And then you put on the tape against Florida State. He allowed 7 quarterback pressures in that game. And you got to be more consistent. Ryan Williams had 3 huge drops over the middle of the field. Everybody remembers, right? And so, to LT Overton, it was taking him a while. He hadn't had a sack in the first 2 games. And to me, we talked about this in the Wisconsin game, is just the stars got to be stars. And I think against Wisconsin, you saw that. And Caden Proctor played lights out. Ryan Williams was unbelievable. He did drop a touchdown pass, by the way, on a post late in the game over the middle of the field, but still was doing unbelievable things. It's like that, they're so loaded, we know, full of NFL talent. When those guys are playing great, they're a hard team to beat. Now, the guy who's playing the best right now is Ty Simpson, a quarterback, and the ball's not hitting the ground. He had some ups and downs against Florida State. Obviously, you're going to do whatever you do against Louisiana Monroe 17-17. That's great. Not taking anything away from them. But Wisconsin, he's just so dialed in. And you can tell he's playing fast. His eyes are in the right place. He's accurate. He's making good decisions under duress. And it's funny, you think about the SEC and sort of what we thought the good quarterbacks were going to be at the start of the year, and Arch Manning and DJ Lagway and Lenora Sellers, all those guys were really struggling. And meanwhile, Ty Simpson, that was a big question mark like Alabama, these last 2 weeks, he's looked like maybe, if not the best, the second best quarterback in the SEC. And you say, hey, if he keeps playing like that week in, week out, I think Bama can still win the SEC and they can go to the college football playoff. The other thing I would say quickly, maybe Florida State's really, really good.
Yeah.
Maybe they're really good. I mean, if you've watched them now for the brisk couple of weeks, the new offense with Gus Malzahn, Castellanos running the show, their defense now with Tony White, the D coordinator, it's a different deal now. To me, Florida State looks legit. So I still think everything's out ahead of Alabama, but obviously the game in 2 weeks at Georgia, that's the one that we're all going to watch to really find out what they are.
So one name you mentioned there, and let's go to your school and the name that you mentioned, DJ Lagway. What are you seeing? Two parts. What are you seeing? And the two, what would Spurrier do to get him right, make him feel comfortable, tell him all that sort of stuff?
Okay, well, I'll answer the second question first.
That's easy.
Yeah, I know what he would do.
Hook.
So, David, this guy knows it. Listen, like it's funny. So I was talking to my dad this past weekend after the Florida LSU game, and my dad called me and he said, "Hey, just out of curiosity, how many interceptions did you ever throw in a game in Florida? What's the most you ever did?" And I was like, "I think it was one." He said, "Is that it? Wow, one. That's actually really good." I was like, "Dad, I was out after one. I threw one pick. I was out of the game." Like that. Like you didn't have a chance to throw 5 or 4, let alone 3. I mean, 2 was pretty much the cutoff. So, I mean, to me, watching him, I think he's pressing. We hear that all the time with coaches, right? Man, going back and watching that LSU game, there's just so many throws into double and triple coverage. So many, David. And it's stuff that, a guy with DJ's experience up to this point, you'd like to kind of say, okay, you might do that once or twice, but you want to learn from that. I feel like that game really snowballed on him. He had that really bad interception in the first quarter on the outbreaking corner route, throws it into triple coverage, gets picked, throws one over the middle of the field, double coverage, safety jumps on a great play by the DB, gets picked. And then from that point on, it's like he kept trying to get it back with every single throw. And he's obviously still a very young player.
Yeah.
But I don't know, David. I mean, how much criticism, and Brent, how much criticism from a football standpoint has DJ Lagway ever had to handle in his life? I don't think very much. And I think he's now living that. I think after the South Florida loss, and now with that performance on the road at Death Valley, there are a lot of people now. There's a lot of chatter going on in Gainesville. It's not just Billy Napier, but it's with DJ Lagway as well. So this is something that he has to learn to navigate.
And my problem, Jesse, was like, I can deal with the accuracy because that's going to come and go. It's not always going to be elite, but the elite of the elite is good. Like the corner route against LSU, you're like, oh, that's nice. Touchdown. But to me, 4 of 5 were a clean pocket. We're not pressured, and it's decision-making. And when it's decision-making, man, like I can't live with the decision-making. But last year, backed in a corner in Gainesville, they fought their way out, man. Like nobody thought they were going to do it. I was impressed with their backbone. Like, can they do it again, man? Or is this going sideways? Or like, I mean, just like how do they? Because here's what Lagway looks like when he comes to the sidelines and he takes his helmet off, man. I see wide-eyed. Like I see like, holy cow. And that's not like, that doesn't bode well. Because last year it wasn't on him. Like, right? He wasn't the problem. It was like, oh, he's going to be the savior. Like he's the guy that's going to fix us. And now it's, so like you talked about, it's in a different zone.
That's what I mean. I think the conversation around him is so different this year. You're right. Last year, he's a true freshman. He's talented. He's the future. We're winning these games late in the year. Look at all the stuff we have to look forward to next year. This year, he's expected to be the guy leading the Florida Gators to wins, and that just isn't happening. And, you always have to remember, he's a true sophomore, and every time he's out on the field, it's a new experience, and he's taking it all in. But the decision-making is worrisome. I think some of the missed throws, even in the South Florida game, he missed some touchdown passes in that game as well. When you go back and look at that, he sort of has to settle himself in. I think Florida can bounce back from it because, David, I just watched the film and I see that this is a much more talented team than they were a year ago in so many different positions. And if they get it right, then I think they can line up with most teams in the SEC and have a chance to win that game. I mean, even in the South Florida game, the penalties, having touchdowns called back, spitting on people, and then play calling. I mean, when they've got – everybody talks about DJ Lagway. When the Gators get Jaden Baugh going running the football, that 245-pound
animal,
true sophomore monster, man-child, I mean, things generally are good. And all of a sudden, I feel like the Gators sometimes get away from that, and they get a little cute, and they start going misdirection, and it's double reverse throwback to the quarterback passes, like on the fringe, when sometimes, things get overthought a little bit. I think now that that the defense is getting, at least on the D line, they're getting healthier again. I still think from a talent standpoint, they can line up and they can get it done. But obviously, you're not going to go to Death Valley and win throwing 5 picks, right? And even with that, they were still there. And it had
a 90-yard touchdown called back. But you're right, Lagway had 33 attempts. But okay, so another guy that's coming in that we had a lot of hype about, Arch Manning. What do we see? Because me and Brent haven't had a lot of good things to say about him thus far in the season, man. And he did get some experience a year ago, and we have seen, some greatness, but the inconsistency is strange, honestly.
Yeah, we called his game against San Jose State week 2, and so prepping for that game, I'm going back and I'm watching his film like you're talking about from last year. And granted, it's against like UTSA and Louisiana Monroe and Mississippi State, but there are throws that you watch and you go, okay, that's a future first round pick talent, right? Even though the competition wasn't as good as they would face coming into this year, and a lot of people have talked about this. Mechanics have been pretty poor up to this point.
What part of the mechanics?
I asked Sark about that when we were getting ready for that game. And what we talked about, Sark said, there's times when Arch drops back to pass and his eyes are in the wrong place. And Dave, like as a thrower, like your eyes, lead your feet, which leads your arm. It all has to kind of be together. And there are times when he's looking over here to make a throw, really he should be looking this way. And when it's too late, after he realizes, oh crap, the safety rotated that side, I'm supposed to be over here. Now he's got to get his shoulders turned around going this way and his feet aligned, and he can't get it there as fast because Ryan Wingo is open right now and the ball's got to get there. So his mechanism to speed up is he just stays open and he sidearms everything. And he dips his shoulder and kind of wings it. And that's when the ball, you see, like a lot of his misses, they just sort of torpedo into the ground. And he's missing. So I think it starts with his eyes and just his mechanism to try to catch up with everything, but it's not all right now. And in that San Jose State game, he threw 4 touchdown passes really quick. They were all wide open throws, but he just misses throws you got to be able to make in your sleep. And I think that's another example of a guy that's pressing too much. And, it's funny. I was thinking about this, something that you and I never had to deal with, obviously, was NIL. And I do think something that amidst what the pressures quarterbacks and just college football players have in general about what fans are saying, social media now, you and I didn't have to deal with that. The noise on social media, what the media is saying, what Sports Center is saying, all that stuff. You also have to justify your NIL deal. And what's Arch making? $6.8 million or something reportedly.
Hey, them glasses are checking them or cashing them checks, baby.
I mean, they're driving Lamborghinis in Austin. So it's like, it's and in your mind you're thinking, I'm the highest paid guy in college football. I got to start showing people why. Now, should you, Brent, should we feel sorry for him?
No,
we should.
Palmer, what would you have bought with a $6 million if you were making $6 million? Like, what would the investment have been? Like, what would Jesse Palmer have been driving in or had in college that he didn't have?
I probably would have had a lot of Abercrombie and Fitch cargo shirts. I have no idea. Like, what would I have done? I had no concept of money. I had no concept of cars, jewelry, anything. I would have had a new pair of cargo shorts every day down in Florida. That's all I would have had.
Dope cargo shorts. All right, Brent, go ahead, brother.
Hilarious. Well, so first off, one, how did your dad not know that how many your most interceptions in a game? Shame on dad, by the way. We're going to get that in there. But the QB part, the QB part, and you're talking about the struggles, but it's guys that are coming back to the same team versus some of the goodness that you've seen and some of the greatness that you've seen early from Mateer, Aguilar, these guys that are portal guys that are in new situations. You, from the quarterback perspective, looking at that, what do you look at that and see? What's your thoughts on that? Where success in these portal areas and not so much in returning.
That's a great point. I mean, and I think that's part of what's disappointing is that year 2 for quarterbacks, especially for quarterbacks, David, I always felt like year 2, like true freshman to true sophomore, was the biggest jump in terms of development, because you're just getting used to college. You're getting used to the new atmosphere. You're getting used to being away from home. You're getting used to your scheme. You're getting used to your teammates, the stadium, all that kind of stuff, the process. And so that to me always felt like that's generally when quarterbacks make their biggest leap from year 1 of playing to year 2. And that's been frustrating. But it is interesting because on the flip side of this conversation, when you look in the SEC at quarterback play, when you look at a guy like John Mateer right now at Oklahoma and how well that guy's playing. And yes, he's playing in a new school and he went into the portal, but he's playing for his same offensive coordinator in the same system he played for back in Washington State with Ben Arbuckle. And it's like, that's what it's supposed to look like to me. Like when I'm looking at, like, I think right now, John Mateer is the best player in the country. It's way too early, right? We're 3 games in.
Yes.
Pollack, hands up.
I love that.
It's like to me though, he's playing so fast. Like you can tell he's been in that system 3 years. He always knows, like you're watching him against Michigan, he's throwing it from this arm angle and this arm angle and this arm angle. And he's just spinning the bean everywhere and he's taking off and running and no one can
with some revolutions on that puppy.
On that ball now. And it's like, and it's just coming out quick. And it reminds me when Stetson Bennett was rolling at Georgia with Monken's offense. You remember like just how he knew everything so fast. You'd watch him like he knew where he was going pre-snap. And if you're playing man-to-man coverage and dudes are on crossing routes, like Stetson Bennett's out. Like every decision was so intentional, it was so fast. And it's like he knew inherently what to do. And that's how I feel Mateer's playing right now in Oklahoma. There's a different speed and different confidence and conviction level he's playing at. I'd like to see if he can do this now week in, week out throughout the course of the season. But I'm not saying we thought DJ Lagway would be that and Arch Manning would be that necessarily. But the Arch Manning problem is that guys are running wide open and he's not hitting them. It has nothing to do with the system. It has nothing to do with decisions. DJ Lagway has to do a little bit more with decisions right now, especially in that LSU game. And that's a little troublesome. Now, lots of football to go, lots of evaluation left to go, but it definitely has been interesting watching it all.
All right, I know you got to go. So I think you answered my question, but I'm going to make sure I get you on record. I said if I have the number 1 draft pick in college football and I'm taking one guy, I'm taking John Mateer. Like, it's not debatable for me. Like, I'm taking him. Jesse Palmer putting the stamp of approval on that, or are you taking someone else?
No. You and I could be co-GMs, and we'll build our team around John Mateer. And dude, I think you got to feel good about it. I mean, he's a guy who's succeeded everywhere he's been through 3 games. Just watching the tape we have this year, forget what he did at Washington State. He's got a command to him, a moxie to him. And I would suggest everybody just keep taking Washington State quarterbacks in the portal because those will be the first picks of the draft.
Cam Ward.
John
All right.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
All right, big homie. Appreciate your time. The great Jesse Palmer.
Thanks, Jesse.
Appreciate you, my man.
Appreciate you guys. We'll see you.
Hey, Bob.